Robert, for coming to our AATV interview today. It's a pleasure to have you here, and my questions will be based off of some of the jazz musicians that will be attending this festival.
Okay.
So first of all, what are the steps or procedures to inviting the musicians to attend this festival?
Well, my colleague, Rainbow, spends a lot of time traveling and looking at different work and attending lots of different festivals and really getting a feel for what is the coolest and most interesting stuff going on all over the world. So some musicians are invited by Rainbow to come, and she tries to find the most interesting combinations of people, maybe people who've never met. She's trying to put them together to play music in an interesting way. Sometimes she picks people for the quality of their playing. Sometimes she thinks that they'd be interesting collaborators for people inside our Vancouver jazz community and that they could really bring something to that. So she'll invite single people to come and meet everybody in Vancouver and play with them. The other part of participating in the jazz festival is we do an open call for local musicians where they can submit their music and a brief biography of what they're about. And we listen to all of them, and we fill in some slots in the festival with local people as well. So it really is a mix of local, national, and international players.
So this kind of brings me up to my next question.
Okay.
So what type of musicians are usually qualified to be invited, and what kind of musicians do you guys usually look for when inviting them?
Well, we serve musicians that are at every level. So in the beginning of musicians' careers, we serve them through youth programs, education programs. We try and bring in some of the best teachers from around the world to teach them. So first we serve our own community by keeping people educated and involved, and also by sharing the music. The quality of the music that we share with young people in our community develops the voice that they use artistically throughout their lives. So we begin by educating people. We also invite people out of the university and college levels. There are particular stages that we have that feature a lot of what we would call emerging artists. And then people from all over the world will send us music, and we listen to it and decide what environment it suits. So we have our large outdoor weekend at the Vancouver Art Gallery that begins the festival, and we try and think about, if there's thousands of people in the streets, what music might sound great in that environment, what's going to bring people together to celebrate together and really enjoy the music. And then we have our final weekend at David Lamb Park. So again, we consider the environment. That's all people sitting out on the grass by the water. And so we choose a different kind of music to go there. So, we're looking at artists from every stage in their career, from everyone from someone playing their first professional gig to someone, like Herbie Hancock, who's been a very famous musician for his whole life. And we suit the musician to the venue. So some people might play in a room with only 100 audience, and other people play in a room with a 2,400 seat audience. So we match the level of the artists to the different rooms and the different environments of our free programs that happen mostly outdoors.
So fortunately, I see that we have a few brochures here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So by any chance, could you introduce us to some of the featured musicians that will be attending this festival?
Absolutely. Our Queen Elizabeth Theatre is the largest venue that we have. And at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre this year we have the Wu-Tang Clan on opening weekend, and then we have the Roots and Herbie Hancock. So the top line of the festival, or the biggest concerts, are one of the best jazz piano players in the world, and then a couple of hip-hop bands that we know that people in our community are very excited about. We also have 5 Alarm Funk and Too Many Zoos happening at the Commodore Ballroom, which is really exciting. That's our show that's going to happen on
big party on opening night.
That is a big party. People wearing, ape costumes and dressed up like
crazy
sharks,
rubber sharks,
jumping around. And then there's the listening environments. We have a beautiful series at Performance Works on Granville Island. So that's where people can take in some really beautiful, more traditional jazz mostly. Some of the artists include Donnie McCaslin, who was on David Bowie's last album, He's playing there on opening night. We also have a woman named Alyssa P, who's from Montreal, and she's a beautiful singer. One of the things that I'm really excited about is a band called Marquise Hills Black Tet, which is a band from Chicago playing, really exciting straight-ahead jazz. And then that series wraps out with a beautiful saxophone player named Melissa Aldana, who's also somebody who's really exciting, someone to watch out for.
So who would you say was like the most famous or like musician or artist that was invited to the festival?
This year that would probably be Herbie Hancock.
What about like in the history of the entire festival?
In the history, people like Keith
Oscar
Jarrett,
Peterson.
Oscar Peterson. We've presented so many of the really, really large artists.
Tony Bennett.
Tony Bennett, the Buena
Lady
Vista
Gaga.
Social Club. So we've done a lot of those kind of shows over the years also.
So this sums up my interview. Thank you, Ms. Lancaster and Ms. Robert again.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
hope that the jazz festival will go well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.